Welcome to Sheni v'Chamishi. It's a sundown, it's a Erev Shabbos, and L'chaim. Yom HaShishi, v'echulu Shemayim v'aretz. There's a story in the Gemara where Matronisa asks one of the Chachamim, what's so special about your God? You know, because at the time, if you take the course from Yeshaya Gafni on Judaism, especially the emergence of Rabbinic Judaism, you'll see how Yiddishkeit was a philosophy, and some people, like Hileni and Mumbaz, the story, people came to Jerusalem because they were interested. It wasn't so much of a religion, it was more of a philosophy, which in the Western world is hard to tell apart. But in the East, it's like Buddhism, and so it's hard. Over there, it's kind of blurred whether it's a religion or a philosophy. So they asked, what's so special about your God, God of Israel? And he says he's a shadchan. He's a matchmaker. She says, well, I could do the same. And she tries with servants and maidservants. And the story goes, as Leader would say in his weekly video, that it didn't work out. Well, if it does work out, does that mean it's divine? Because what if it's not sanctioned by your parents or your church or synagogue or the dogma? What if they don't like the concept on religious grounds or racial grounds? What if it's in a time when Sephardi and Ashkenazi parents wouldn't accept the intermarriage, and they used whatever excuses they had. They didn't have to have the same excuse. And today you have the same issue. You ask a question, you get 5 different answers on every different day of the week, and still they're not enough. So I remember watching a bunch of Reform kids, nifty synagogue youth, on a flight from New York to Paris. And my goal was to put tefillin on all the boys, and the girls had some questions about Judaism, and I love to tell them about Judaism and Chabadism and what the Rebbe says. And they liked it, so I said every single Yid in his heart did tshuva. And they weren't clever enough to say, tshuva to what? To Rav Shach or tshuva to the Rebbe? Or to just reform, to social justice Judaism. So these universal catch-all phrases worked very well. But something that I didn't understand was that this boys and girls camp, aside for the fact that it was, this co-ed camp, there was a lot of boys and girls that were getting along pretty well on a long flight. It wasn't easy for a boy like me from yeshiva to watch it like watching someone eat when you're hungry. Not that far off. And like the story in the Gemara, the God of Israel, who is so special, that makes those matches, was making a lot of matches, and that was pretty fortunate for them, because of you're going to Israel on a group, and maybe they went as couples, like a boyfriend, girlfriend. Okay, we'll join the group because I'm going, because you're going. But it was a bunch of kids, and a lot of them were getting along pretty good. I was always about the justice. I just didn't understand. And I believed that there was some type of Ratzon Elyon attached to a dogma that was picked up from medieval times. This concept of Tzniyus, which is absolutely against Reb Chaim Vital. If you read his letter about how his wedding ceremony was postponed, and how he was very depressed. Of course, this is a mystic, and he was probably depressed altogether from a lot of different things. but he was depressed because he says that in the month's time waiting to get married, it's impossible that he didn't have a wasting and an emission of the semen naturally. So he created a tikkun. In his letter, he writes this. Chaim Vital is big. That's the Arizal. That's not just some guy. Maybe he was a friend of Shabsai Tzvi, some makubal that we don't hold by him. This is legit Kabbalah, right? As Jacobson would say, the Arizal and Chaim Vital, who we owe most of our understanding of Kabbalah to. So Chaim Vital, he gave a tikkun to stay during coupling, to stay inside until the last drop and things like that. As a tikkun for wasting, so whenever he's with his wife, he should not pull out until he's completely finished. Probably interesting and probably weird or difficult, but again, it's mysticism, right? There's no brains in that. So, wow, the moon, have to show it to you. So, it's against of Chaim Vital for a bacher to get married after age 15 or 16. And if you're poor, meaning the shidduchim are not lined up for you, like it's lined up for your more well-off friends. So, we sing Elekei Avram when we on Yom Kippur, but you got to find out which God is it. Is the God of the rich the same God as the poor? That God that makes the shidduchim, is that your God? Is he your God and he's disinterested in you, or is he just not your God? But if he was your God, he would definitely, if I knew, I would definitely help you. So, that's it for now. And you could mix romantic ideas of saving your sex is dirty, but save it for the one you love, and God loves you, but you could burn in hell. You could mix those contradictions and do what I did, which was I tried to be a good boy, and I did it pretty well. I was pretty proud of myself, even though it was a waste. It was useless. It was didn't benefit me, didn't benefit any potential girl I could have been a good friend to, and it didn't make life more clear for later. By being living in infancy until age 25 doesn't really start you off. It's not an experience of maturity, and so on and so forth. So thank you for watching. Sheni b'chamishi, and have a good Shabbos.